Welcome to 3 Minutes Fix. In today's video, I will teach you how to install the latest Dooo app, along with some additional guides. The Dooo app doesn't need much introduction. If you're a new viewer, I recommend purchasing the official version only from Code Canyon. If you're new to our channel, consider subscribing for more tutorials. In this video, I will show some major changes in current Dooo application. There aren't many changes in uploading the script to your server, but there are notable changes in the way we install the app. I will walk you through it to avoid errors. Please note, updating the app to the latest version may lead to a loss of series data due to some changes in the panel, so proceed with caution. Before you install, you need to add your license details to the 1byte Solution website. Adding your data is straightforward. First, log in to the 1byte Solution site. Then, click on Add License. Enter your username, license key, and domain name. Note that there are certain limitations on changing domain names, so finalize the domain you will be using for Dooo before adding it to the site. In case you purchase directly from the developer, you can contact them via the Telegram group to have your username registered on the site. Just follow the video for installation. If you're considering moving files from the Dooo folder, you can do so without causing any issues. When installing, you might occasionally encounter an empty installer without proper text. If this happens, do not proceed. Instead, open an incognito window and continue with the installation from there. Once the installation is complete, close all other active sessions and clear the cache to work with your regular browser. I would also like to take this opportunity to mention the new wizard. It looks great, and I especially appreciate the dark theme. I love the new design and would like to extend my thanks to the developers for these changes. For newcomers, understanding what's happening in the background can be very helpful. Displaying this information in the top right corner of the screen can provide clarity. Once again, I remind you that updating to the latest version could potentially lead to data loss in the series. Please take a backup of the episode, series, and season tables before proceeding with the update. I will guide you on how to add those tables to this version without any issues. Our developer has integrated a new feature allowing images to be uploaded to IMDb. This approach replaces storing images on our server or relying on TMDB. The main reason for this change is to address issues faced by users on popular mobile networks in India, who often encounter problems viewing images from TMDB due to network restrictions. This update should resolve those issues and enhance image accessibility. A small trick to display movies in your app uniquely is to utilize the vast collection of posters and banners available on TMDB. Instead of using the first images fetched by your fetcher, go to the specific movie, navigate to the Images section, and select the best images for the movie. Replace the banner and poster accordingly. This approach makes the movie stand out from those in regular apps. This effect type mostly work in winter season. For now, we keep it disabled. You can dynamically change what image should be shown on splash screen using this feature. Previously, we discovered that if the user turns off the internet, embedded views start displaying the real URL as a site not reachable error. To address this, we added a custom error message to the embedded page to prevent users from accessing our link. Finally, I got chance to show how mail system working using cPanel. All you need to access your cPanel mail settings and get the data from there and paste it to the panel. As that is sensitive data, I am not showing my cPanel mail settings. Click the Test Mail button to send a test email to your address with the subject Test Mail. If you receive it, congratulations. Your email setup is successful with the Do panel. This setup allows you to send OTPs and password reset links to users. If you encounter issues with the mail server setup, please contact your hosting provider for assistance. I prefer sending an OTP only when the user signs up, rather than each time they log in. You can adjust this as needed. I think the admin panel part is complete. Let's move on to the Android Studio part.
There have been some changes in the Android Studio source code by the developers. Additionally, I have switched to the new UI of Android Studio. I am now using the latest version of Android Studio, codenamed Koala. Please use the latest version available on the site as needed. If you're running into Gradle issues with an older version of Android Studio, you have a couple of options to fix it. Update to the latest version of Android Studio. This often resolves compatibility issues. Adjust the Gradle version in your build.gradle file to match a compatible version. While Gradle does its job, you should go to Firebase and create a project to obtain your Google Services.json file. The method is quite straightforward, but you need to finalize your package name before this step. I've taught this multiple times, so I skipped that part. In case you're new, just press the Add button in your project, and the project wizard will guide you through the process. Remember that your Firebase package name, Android Studio Gradle package name, and folder package name must all be the same. Additionally, the package name set in the admin panel of Dooo should match Gradle's package name. Changing your package name later in Firebase is not possible, so plan carefully before proceeding. If you forget to enable authentication in Firebase, Google Sign-In won't work in your app. To fix this, go to the Authentication menu, select Sign-In method, choose Google for Sign-In. First part is over. To make it complete, we have to add the SAW1 fingerprint key to your Firebase project. I will explain how to do this in the later part of this video. Next is Remote Config. This feature allows you to change the server URL and key dynamically without rebuilding your app in adverse scenarios. Since we are already familiar with this part, I will move on without further elaboration. I always prefer to edit the configuration template locally before updating. The reason is that remote configuration responses are slow. If you make changes live, it takes time for them to reach the app and may lead to 404 errors. This applies only for the first time. For subsequent updates, you can use Firebase. However, remember to save the data once to avoid saving it multiple times. With this, our Firebase part is almost complete. Remember, we need to add the fingerprint key or release key to Firebase at the end. Now let's move on to Android Studio.
So, now that we are in the Android Studio interface, and since I am using the latest version, I did not encounter a Gradle issue. In case you experience a Gradle mismatch problem, go to the settings and change the Gradle version there if you are using an older version of Android Studio. In some cases with this new interface, you may need to change it in the build.gradle files. There are two files. Choose the first one and edit the Gradle version to the recommended version shown in your build dialog. The package name in your Firebase configuration must match the one in your Android Gradle file. Therefore, carefully check and either type or copy the exact name from Firebase into your Android Studio project. Once this is done, press Sync Project with Gradle files. After syncing, you need to change the folder name. While some may consider this optional, I recommend changing it as it is mandatory to make your app unique. In case you encounter a situation where renaming a folder results in it being split into two, simply rename it once again to merge them. For example, if the new package middle name is Movie and the old package middle name is Dooo, Android might split them into two folders, Dooo and Movie. All you need to do is repeat the renaming step on the Dooo folder to merge it with the Movie folder. I hope this clarifies the process. So we have successfully configured the admin panel and the Android app. This is a very basic setup. Before we build the app, we will add a few movie links to the server so that we can test and ensure they play well. This time, I would like to thank the developer for adding the multi-server link feature for series. This is a much-needed feature, as many users have requested it. I had also suggested this feature to the developer, and I'm pleased to see it live in this update. Although it's a great addition, it still has a major disadvantage. From the beginning, I had warned about the update. The reason is that when you get multiple links or servers for a series, it means the developer has recoded the admin panel's series process. This leads to data loss because your old links table will no longer be effective, as the server requires a new table. On one side, we have the multi-server feature for series, but on the other side, we face the issue of losing old episodes and the time-consuming process involved. The developer mentioned that he would consider adding a toggle feature to use both the new and old methods. Let's hope for the best. I would also like to thank him for his hard work in recoding the entire series page. This is another issue that many of us still face. It often occurs during the initial build of your Android app. If the build fails, try rebuilding and performing a clean build, then run the app again. Most of the time, you will see the generated folder in your side panel. Once you locate it, you can manually import the build configuration library. So multi-link on series are working perfectly. We will focus on other issue and app. Many people asking me about this overlapping system bar issue. I am happy to share a working solution on this. Before proceeding, we will first fix the partial view of the series items to ensure it fills the screen correctly. To achieve this, you need to replace the term Flexbox Layout Manager with Grid Layout Manager. This change will correct the layout and display the items with the appropriate number. Same applies to all web series fragment. Once done, rebuild the application to enjoy the output. So, it's now perfectly fit the screen. But problem of using custom span count is, this won't be responsive on all device. But I feel this better. So if you want feature like this, you can just add those line. The next known problem is that the bottom navigation bar is overlapped by the system bar. To fix this, you need to add the snippet of code I shared in the description and disable all previous code related to full screen. This will fix your overlapping issue, and as a bonus, it will also resolve the occasional empty screen error on your homepage. Now we come to an important section. I have a trick for using old episode data in your new web series without affecting your admin panel. The requirement is 2 subdomains, one for the old admin panel, which contains the data, and one for the new admin panel with series data. Again, I urge you to try this on a testing domain, which is why I mention using 2 subdomains. Do not disturb the old database or its subdomain. Once you have set this up, we are ready to proceed.
Go to the old database and carefully download or export the following tables. 1. Web series. 2. Web series episode. And 3. Web series season. Once downloaded, store these in a separate folder named Old Data. Next, go to the new database, the current version 2.8 panels database, and download the same 3 tables in the same order. Place these in a separate folder with an appropriate name, such as New DB. Once these 2 steps are completed, the final step is to back up the new database entirely. This can be done by going to the Export menu, exporting the entire database, and placing the backup separately in a folder. This backup is necessary in case we need to revert our panel back. After this, your next task is to isolate the new panel database and the old panel database. It is better to type their names in a notepad and proceed with caution. Go to the new panel database and delete the same 3 tables. I don't recommend bulk deletion, so delete them manually. The tables to delete are Web Series Episode, and Web Series Season. Once done, upload the tables from the old data folder on your PC to the new database. Do this carefully and slowly to avoid any errors, as errors could lead to database problems while adding series. Once these steps are completed, the panel side downgrading will be done. This process will enable you to use the new panel with old episode data. Now it's time to test our panel. See, we are using still new version only. On our panel side, we didn't make many changes. I will provide a PHP file with this video, probably on our Telegram group due to restrictions. All you need to do is properly back up your panel files, delete your managed.episode.php file, and replace it with my version of the PHP file. This will make the episode links available. These are minimal changes. I did not alter any other logic except for printing and saving data from and to the PHP table. However, remember that if a developer sends an update, this file will be replaced. It's your responsibility to keep a local copy or a zip file so that updates won't affect it. Then, extract and use it as you want. It's 100% safe to use this method as long as you do it correctly. If you find it too difficult, you can wait for the developer's update. If you succeed, congratulations. Let's proceed with modifying the Android Studio files to make them compatible with this version.
For Android Studio, I provide the modified files, and in this video, I teach you how to apply them. First, we need to identify the targets that are being changed: the WebSeries adapter, Only For You adapter, and related adapter. Finally, the WebSeries details with the episode list are the components that have new files. I renamed the old files to distinguish them easily. Here are other adapters, namely Allweb's Iris adapter and Image Slider adapter. We will make a few tweaks to use these adapters as they are. The reason is that these adapters do not have a complex implementation, so modifying them will be easy. For adding a new activity, it can be very complex and confusing. I have a shortcut for this. Add the following line to your manifest, making sure to change the package name accordingly. Then, add the WebSeries old.java class file to your project. As shown in the folder, you have to import them correctly in the correct positions so that the activity can identify their names correctly. That's all. Your app is 90% ready for working with the old panel, so let's make it complete. Go to Other Adapter Names End with WebSeries. Rename WebSeries Activity to WebSeries Activity Old. Do this slowly and correctly. Don't remove the original code. It's good practice to tag it so that if you change your mind, you can simply untag it and use that method for multi-server support. Once you have completed these tasks, your app will be 100% ready. Please update the following adapters to use WebSeries Activity Old.class. search list adapter, all web series list adapter, favorite list adapter, image slider adapter, web series list adapter. In each adapter, replace the current intent activity class name with web series activity old.class. Our app is ready. Let's see if it performs well in all areas, including the image slider, all web series, and the home screen. App works well. So, without wasting time, let's move on to the part where we convert your APK to a release APK and generate a signed key, so we can use Google Login. To generate signing certificate fingerprints, you first need to convert your app flavor to release mode. To create a release build, you need a JEX file, which is a release key file or private key file generated by Android Studio. You can obtain this file by navigating to Build and selecting Generate Signed Bundle, or APK. Choose APK from the radio button options. Here, you will need to specify a location for the JK's file, enter an 8-character password, and provide a key alias name. Once these details are filled in, proceed to build the APK. Now change the build variant to Release. Once Gradle sync is complete, it will show some errors. You need to include Release in the drop-down list. To do this, you must manually add the release key data to your Gradle file. Alternatively, you can add it through the project settings to avoid syntax errors. In the project structure dialog, choose Modules, and then select the third tab called Signing Config. Press the Add button to add a new signing configuration value. Enter the value as release. Once done, edit the values for release. The first value will be store file, followed by password, key store alias, and key password. After entering these details, press OK and then the Apply button. Wait for Gradle to sync. In the top right corner, you will see a Gradle symbol. Click on it to open a command line-like interface. Type Signing Report with R capitalized and press Enter. It may take up to 30 seconds for Gradle to generate the key values for the release file. Once done, open Firebase and add the key values to the project settings. It is not necessary to update the JSON file, as it receives values directly from the cloud. Let's run the app and check if Google Login works. Remember, the release APK is always intended for production and should not be compared directly with the debug APK. If the debug APK is found, it might result in a package mismatch or other errors. To avoid such issues, it's best to delete the debug APK and always use the release APK. Let's sign up with an email address. Great! Our app accepts Gmail address without problem. This is professional way to release APK in release mode. I plan to create a comprehensive guide on how to make the Dooo app TV compatible. This will take a little more time, so it's better to cover that topic separately. Have a good day. If you found this video useful, please subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I won't be able to assist with obtaining null versions of apps, but any other questions are welcome.